Hi boys and girls, today is Friday, September 4th, and we made it through our first week of first grade. So today I'm going to read to you my favorite book. It's called Hawaii for Wodney Wat. This is Wodney. Poor Wodney. Wodney Wat. His real name was Wodney Rat, but he couldn't pronounce his R's. And to make matters worse, he was a rodent. A wodent. What's your name, Wodney? Asked the other rodents. Wodney Wat, whispered Wodney. What's another name for bunny? They asked knowingly. Wabbit, he mumbled. And how does a train travel? And they winked at each other. A twain travels on twain tracks, Wodney replied miserably. They're not being very nice to Wodney, are they? All of this teasing day in and day out made Wodney the shyest rodent in his elementary school. His squeak could barely be heard in class. He gnawed at lunch alone, and while the other rodents scurried and scooted about at recess, Wodney hid inside his jacket. Look at him. Then one day, as the rodents were taking turns doing wheelies, a new rodent, a very large rodent, barged into the classroom and announced, "My name is Camilla Capybara. I'm bigger than any of you, I'm meaner than any of you, and I'm smarter than any of you." And then she added, "So there." Camilla doesn't seem like a very nice rodent, does she? With that, she accidentally, on purpose, elbowed an ear, she bumped two noses, and stepped on three tails. And then she laid down on a desk. Fur prickled in fear through the classroom. She sure was bigger than any of them. She sure looked meaner than any of them. But was she smarter than any of them? "What's 2 plus 2? Asked Miss Fuzzleworth. "4, shouted Camilla Capybara, without even bothering to raise her paw. "And furthermore, 4 plus 4 is 8, and 8 plus 8 is 16, and 243 plus 125 is 368. Later, when Miss Fuzzleworth asked, "What's the capital of?" Camilla interrupted. "New York, Albany, population 295,594. And during science, in answer to the question, "What part of the plant is below the ground?" Camilla Capybara danced on her desk and sang, "Root, root, rooty toot toot." Yep, thought all the other rodents. She's smarter than we are too. They felt very uncomfortable. Every afternoon, just before the final recess, Miss Fuzzleworth drew a name from her hat to see who would be the leader for their favorite game, Simon Says. She scrunched her eyes closed and jiggled the hat. Would it be Hairy Hamster, Minnie Feet Mouse, Grizzle Frizz Guinea Pig? Could it be big, mean, smart Camilla Capybara? Miss Fuzzleworth's paw reached in and pulled out a name. Wodney Wat! The bell rang and there was a wild scurry for the door. And Camilla Capybara was the first on the playground, having trampled all of the other kids in her path. To Wodney, she looked especially scary. What would she do when she heard him speak? Would she breathe capybara breath in his face? Or tie him up with his own tail? Or even pounce on him? The tiny, trembling leader of the game stood before the eager players, his head well inside his jacket, and he squeaked, "Wodney says, read the sign." All the other students read, "PS 142 Elementary School for Rodents." Camilla began pulling up weeds around the sign, wildly flinging them hither and yon until she was clear up to her teeth in dirt. The other rodents began to smile. See, Rodney tried to say, read the sign, but he said, weed the sign. And Camilla thought Wodney meant to pull all the weeds, but he didn't. He meant to read the sign. Wodney says, wrap your paws around your head. He peeked a little peek out of his jacket, and he saw, whap, whap, whappity, slappity, whap. Camilla was whapping her paws around her head so hard she became dizzy. She gave herself a headache and had to sit down. The other rodents couldn't help but giggle. Wodney says, play wing around a wosy. Camilla put her arms out like wings and made an airplane noise. But where was the wosy? What was a wosy? So Wodney meant ring around the rosy, and she didn't understand. By now, Wodney's voice was stronger, and his head was entirely out of his jacket. Wake the leaves. Nobody moved. Wodney says, wake the leaves. While Harry, Minniefeet, and Grizzlefrizz and the others busied themselves raking, Camilla Capyberry grabbed one leaf and yelled, wake up! She's not raking, she's waking. She snatched another, come on you, up, up, and another, rise and shine, and another, boo. By now, all of the rodents were squealing with laughter. All but Camilla, who frowned. Stupid leaves, they won't wake up. And why was everyone laughing at her? Such bullies. In a voice so strong, he had to hold his own ears, Wodney called, Wodney says go west. The rodents collapsed in a happy heap for a rest. Go west. Camilla Capybara, feeling very smart that she could tell which direction by the sun was west, she said, all right, I shall go west. And then she added, so there. She stomped, and forevermore she was gone. And from that day on, the pupils of PS 142 Elementary School for Rodents never teased Wodney again. He was their hero. Hooray for Wodney Wat, they cried. Woot, woot, wooty toot toot. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. It's one of my favorite books ever. I hope you all have a good Friday. Get your work done, and I'll see you back here later for a Google Meet. Bye, guys.